Hey class, sorry I couldn't make it today. As you know, I have lots to go get done for my master's. So today you'll be learning your lesson online. Here is our bell work that we usually do. The Edpuzzle is going to pause and you are going to answer each of these 4 questions. Remember yesterday we talked about writing numerical expressions, so you should have no problem doing this. You do not need to solve them. You just need to write them into mathematical format. Today we're going to be talking about patterns. So again, even though I'm not here, you're still learning. So today for patterns, you need to have your book out and a pencil. We're going to see how they're used to solve problems. So today we're just going to find that rule and continue the pattern, and we will apply this in a later lesson of how they're used to solve problems. Your first question is, how do you determine the relationship between numbers in a sequence? So here in example 1, you have Mary and her friends find a 4-leaf clover during lunch. A 4-leaf clover has 4 leaves. The table shows the total number of leaves for several 4-leaf clovers. Extend the pattern to find the next 3 terms. If you notice down here, they have number of 4-leaf clovers. 1 4-leaf clover has 4 leaves. 2 are going to have 8 leaves. 3 have 12, and 4 have 16. I like how the book mentions that each one they show, it's a +4. As you guys have figured out when we've been practicing patterns, you have to make sure the pattern applies to all of the terms in the sequence. So I just used 2 vocabulary words. You have terms, which is each digit, and your sequence is the pattern that you see, so the 4, 8, 12, 16. So since each one is adding up by 4, we know that that is the pattern or the rule. So here, now don't judge me, I'm using this at the mouse pad, by adding 4. Hey guys, that turned out pretty great. Now we just need to keep continuing that pattern. So we have 16 plus 4, which is 20. So then we take that and we need to do 20 plus 4, which is 24. And then we take that 24 and add 4 to find the last term in our sequence, and we get 28. So our next 3 terms are 20. Oops, not letting me. There it is. Oops, oops. Not a normal lesson if I don't mess up. Oh, this is bad, guys. Miss Hunt will just keep writing. Sorry. Comma to represent our space. 24. And 28. You guys are going to be making fun of me on Monday because this was bad and I'm not going to retape it though. So, your terms are each number. Your sequence is the list of numbers. The most important rule today in patterns is making sure that the rule applies to every single term. Now you may come across them where you have 2 patterns or 2 rules to figure out. So let's go ahead and keep on moving. And let's look at example 2. You have Maria and Jang are training to run a half marathon. A half marathon is about 13 miles. Their weekly training plans are shown in the table. Use the information to write a sequence to represent each person's weekly training plan. Then compare the plans. So Maria is starting at 2 miles, I see. Then I look over at the training plan, and it says to add 2 miles per week for each of the next 4 weeks. This is telling me that she's starting at 2, and each week I need to add 2. I know I'm done with my sequence when I've hit 4 weeks. Jang is starting at 4 miles, and he's going to add 4 miles per week for each of the 4 next weeks. So again, he's starting at 4, And then the next week, he's going to add 4 to that, and the next week, add 4 to that, until he's ran for 4 weeks. So each week, Maria will run 2 more miles, and Jang will run 4 more miles than the previous week. Write a sequence with 5 terms for Maria's training plan. So here, again, when I look back up at the table, I see that she's starting at 2. So that is where my sequence needs to start. I put a comma to separate the terms. Next, I see that she's adding 2 miles per week. So, okay, what's 2 plus 2? 4. Then she's adding 2 more miles. So 4 plus 2 is 6. And then 2 more miles, which is 8. And I see that my sentence here tells me to write 5 terms. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, so I need 1 more. Again, my rule is to add 2, so 8 plus 2 is 10. I now see that I need to do the same thing, write a sequence with 5 terms for Jing's training plan. Well, he's starting at 4, and he's adding 4 miles per week. So I need to add 4. So 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus, 4 is 12. And 12 plus 4 is 16. And again, I need 5 terms, and here I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 more, 16 plus 4 is 20. Again, guys, sorry, this is so bad. I'm using my mouse pad. It's so hard. That was pretty easy. Continuing the term should be the easiest part. Here they gave us the rule, so we just had to apply it. This should be a pretty easy step for you guys. So here, now our next question is compare the training plans. Each week, Jang plans to run blank as many miles as Maria. Here, this question is wanting me to compare Maria's first term to Jang's first term. So here I have 2 and I have a 4. Well, I know that I can add 2 and it'll get me 4, but let me see if it applies to the next terms. I have 4 and 8. Well, if I do 4 plus 2, that doesn't give me 8, so that rule doesn't work. I need to go back and try again. How else can I get 2 to a 4? If adding doesn't work, I know that I can try multiplying. And I know 2 times 2 is 4. I know 4 times 2 is 8. I know 6 times 2 is 12. 8 times 2 is 16. And 10 times 2 is 20. So we can say that Jing plans to run twice as many, twice as many miles as Maria. And guys, that's an I. Eek. Okay, so not only can we compare our patterns going across or horizontal, you may also be asked to compare them vertically. All right, let's keep on moving on because this should be a fairly easy day. On the guided practice, write the next 3 terms in the sequence. 1, 4, 7, 10. Well, if you just kept reading, it tells you each term in the sequence can be found by adding. So we know that we need to add. Well, 1 plus what gives us 4? I bet you're already shouting it into your computer. It is 3. Does that keep applying? Is 4 plus 3 7? Yes. Is 7 plus 3 10? Yes. So to continue our term, we take that 10 and we're going to add 3. That gives us 13. Then we take that 13 and we add 3. And that gives us 16. Then we take that 16 and we add 3, and that gives us 19. So our next 3 terms are 13, 16, and 19. OMG. That's a comma. That's okay. Yeah, that's a 9. So here they kind of gave you that rule. Some of them are going to get harder in your independent practice. Okay, so remember that you can use all 4 operations to find your pattern. I'm actually looking at your independent practice, and all of them just have one step in the pattern. So just make sure you're making sure that if it works from the first term to the second term, that it still applies from the second term to the third term and from the third term to the fourth term. All right, let's go ahead and move along. We're actually going to skip this one. Paper passer will pass this out towards the end of the lesson, and this will be your exit slip. I am going to grade these. So just to kind of go over it, you're going to draw lines to match each of the sequences to the correct rule, and then from that, connect it to the correct next 3 terms. So I should see a line from here to here, and then a line from here to here. So here's an example. Let's say this one goes with this one, and then these are your next 3 terms. So they should correlate with each other so that it all matches up and makes sense. Again, this will be passed out towards you at the end of the class. So let's keep on moving along. And your independent practice, I want you to go ahead and do the evens. If you finish the evens before math time is over and before that previous slide gets passed out to you, go ahead and do the odds too. It's not too much to practice. So when you look at your independent practice, your directions say to identify the pattern, then write the next 3 terms in each sequence. Make sure you are doing both of those steps. I don't care if you write the words add, subtract, multiply, divide, or if you use the operation symbol that you're used to seeing, and then make sure you're continuing the pattern. Yes, you may use this on your whiteboard or get out a scratch piece of paper. If you need a scratch piece of paper, please raise your hand and Miss Maria will come pass it out to you. Please, please work hard. Please be on your best behavior, because just because I'm at home doesn't mean that I won't know what you are up to. But I know you guys are fabulous, so do an awesome job. You will be ripping out your independent practice page, and you will be turning them in, so make sure you write your name on it and complete the I don't remember if I said odds or evens. I'll clarify for you and write it on the screen. All right, so I just updated the screen for you. You should be on page 515, just to clarify. You are doing the even numbers, but remember, if you finish before time is up, go ahead and go back and do the odds, but this should take some time. And you are turning this in, so place your name on it. It'll go in the math tray when you finish or when Miss Maria tells you that it is time. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I can't wait to see you on Monday.